Subtropical Savannah Superheroes Battle of the Ants by Brady, Lucy, Ion, and Tanisha. About the characters. Gandalf is a powerful lion with flying and super strength abilities. He uses his long claws to catch prey and enemies and cares deeply about the subtropical savanna. Rocco is a speedy pangolin with an elastic, long stretching tongue. He has scales from head to tail which help protect him from injuries. He always enjoys a little bug snack. Trixie is an African wild dog with super strength and amazing jumping abilities. She has long legs which help her run fast. She does her absolute best to protect her environment. Lastly, the blue wildebeest, elephants, and giraffes are the civilians of the subtropical savanna. They love their environment and live peacefully, thanks to the abundance of readily available food such as their favorite, acacia trees.
It was a hot summer's day. The scorching sun was shining down upon the earth. Gandalf the lion took his evening stroll to the watering hole to make sure all was sound in the savannah. Satisfied with his observations, Gandalf returned to his den to sleep soundly on his bed of rocks for the night. The next day, Gandalf awoke to the sound of trouble and scurried out to see what was going on. He was joined by his best friend, Trixie, the African wild dog. "What's going on out here?" asked Gandalf. "There's been an invasion," says the blue wildebeest. Gandalf and Trixie exchanged a glance. They knew it had to be done. They had to call Rocco, the ground pangolin. They picked up their walkie-talkie and soon after, in rolled Rocco. "What's the problem?" asked their scaly friend. "We need your help. There is some commotion in the village." The three of them ran down to the village and discovered a decrease in the number of acacia trees, red oak grass, spear grass, Bermuda grass, and baobab trees. "Without the acacia trees, our town cannot survive," shouted an elephant. That's when they looked down and noticed small trails in the sandy soil. "What could that be?" asked Trixie. "Let's go find out," replied Gandalf. Rocco, Gandalf, and Trixie followed the trails for hours, and as they walked they noticed more and more trails coming together. They followed the trails until they couldn't see anything except for large and deep holes that were spaced out in the ground. The sky was covered in dark clouds. That's when they heard a loud sound coming from one of the holes. They were ready to fight, but then they saw a tiny dot moving across the ground. "It is so tiny," Trixie laughed. But then more and more ants started to flood in. There were thousands of ants. Electric ants and fire ants circled Rocco, Gandalf, and Trixie. They soon combined and formed the largest ant any of them had ever seen. These small ants were multiplying by the second. Soon the ants formed a giant ant monster that was growing in size at a dangerously fast rate. They finally looked up and were terrified. It's Antzilla!" Trixie said scaredly. "Okay guys, I am not entirely sure, but I think these invasive ants are responsible for swarming our town and eating our food during the night." Everyone nodded in agreement. Rocco continued. "They are not meant to be here, and they are a threat to our town. We must protect our civilians." "How?" asked Trixie. "We must defeat Antzilla," replied Gandalf confidently. "I have a plan," said Rocco. "Gandalf and Trixie distract the monster. I will figure out the defeating part." The three of them run into battle as rain started to pour. Before they knew it, Gandalf and Trixie ran around and tried to unbalance Antzilla. While Antzilla was distracted and trying to protect itself from Gandalf and Trixie, Rocco curled into a ball and started rolling around the ant as fast as he could. He then extended his long tongue and wrapped it around Antzilla's legs. "Deliver the blow!" shouted Rocco. In flies Gandalf and Trixie, laying an uppercut to Antzilla's head, knocking it over. Antzilla screeches, falls to the ground, and disperses into thousands of tiny ants. "What do we do next?" started Trixie. Meanwhile, Rocco was enjoying a yummy snack. "Don't worry, ants are one of my favorite delicacies," he replied happily. Gandalf laughed in reply. Suddenly Rocco whistled. All the pangolins from the town heard Rocco's whistle and flooded the land. Soon all the invasive ants had been eaten and enjoyed by Rocco and his pangolin friends. The animals danced and played in the rain, celebrating their victory. New plants started to sprout and peace had been restored in the town. The end.
We dedicate this book to the subtropical savanna biome because it is a large, diverse environment that contains a variety of organisms. In recent days, this vast landscape has become threatened by invasive ants that are harming the surrounding vegetation, which are important to the survival of the animals, such as the blue wildebeest and the African elephant. By eliminating/reducing the fire ant and electric ant population in the savanna, it can help restore the balance of the ecosystem by reducing their negative impact on native species. African savannas provide water, grazing, food, and fuel for tens of millions of people, and have a unique biodiversity that supports wildlife tourism.